This is one of those, peel the garlic until you're tired to peel the garlic. And for me, it stopped about here. So I'm just gonna thinly slice this. Pasta alla norma, or the normal pasta, is a beautiful summery vegetarian pasta dish. When it was first introduced to me, I was super skeptical about it because it is an eggplant dish, where I'm not the biggest fan of eggplant, truly, and never been, but this dish particularly is the greatest way to use that old eggplant that's just sitting in your fridge, because it gets fried, it gets mushed into the sauce, and it turns this really beautiful pasta dish into just a really extraordinarily tasting, very summery, very fresh dish with the addition of fried eggplant. So let's make this really beautiful pasta alla norma. So this is going to be a very quick one. We're going to do a 4 people meal within probably 20 minutes. So I'm going to start with the eggplant. I have my water coming up to a boil right now, so that's good. That's giving us some time to prepare the sauce. So for the eggplant, I'm using just the regular globe eggplant. What's great about this to me is the ratio of like seed to flesh, but you could really use any eggplant. And also, I've seen many people use the actual skin. I'm not a fan on it, and I pretended I was a fan of the skin for a very long time, but I find that even after frying or baking or whatever you do with eggplant, if the skin is on, I find it chewy and tough. So I'm gonna just stop lying to myself and remove the eggplant skin.
I didn't even know that was an option.
To remove it?
Yes, I'm so happy because I hate the skin too.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I used to work for this chef that used to do half on, half off, and I was like, can we just go ahead and remove it all, please, and just stop pretending? But it adds a beautiful color, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So this is not the most like dish-friendly thing in the world, because I will need to use 2 pots, one for my pasta water and a heavy-bottomed one to fry the eggplant and then build my sauce. So I'm getting that hot right now. Now I'm gonna just cube eggplant. This doesn't have to be perfect because the entire goal here is to get the eggplant to a point where it's gonna just slightly fall apart into the sauce. A lot of people would try to draw out moisture here from the eggplant by adding salt. I'm not gonna do this. I'm actually just gonna do that by slowly frying in olive oil. And that's gonna be how we're gonna remove the moisture from the eggplant. I also don't want this to take like a half a day, right? So that's why I'm skipping that step. So in my heavy bottom pan, olive oil, generous amount, about 3 tablespoons. This is also all gonna be used to build your sauce. So let's go in. So quickly, the eggplant is going to start absorbing all the oil, and that's okay. Eventually, as it cooks, it's going to start releasing it. But if you do get dark spots, don't be shy to add some oil. All right, a little salt goes in there as well. So as our eggplant is slowly frying away, we're going to take care of 3 things. We're going to take care of the garlic, the onion, which is going to be a shallot, and picking some herbs. I have about 5 cloves of garlic, but really this is one of those, peel the garlic until you're tired to peel the garlic. And for me, it stopped about here. So I'm just gonna thinly slice this. All right, garlic off the side. Next I have 2 shallots. I like those, they do add a ton of sweetness to the dish. Shallots, I'm just gonna slice them in half. And then I'm gonna do thin slices like this. All right, shallot here. Garlic there. Now we're going to pick some oregano. Loosely packed, 1/4 cup of fresh oregano. Voila. So the eggplant has released the oil back and it's coming down to like a point where it's fully cooked, it's slightly mushy. And now we can take it out of here, have a little cloth, have a little plate ready for it to land on, just to remove a little bit of extra oil that may have been stuck in the eggplant. And the oil that's left in your pan, leave that in there, and that's what we're going to use to fry everything. So now we're doing like a dry frying. Before adding the onion, we're going to do garlic, we're going to do chili, and we're going to do oregano. That's going to like exponentially bloom the flavor of these. So first off, garlic is going in. That's going to go quick as it's like the heavy bottom pan. It's already very hot all the way through. So we're gonna get that to a slight golden stage. The garlic has reached a nice golden brown edge. We're gonna add the chili, and here we go. It's all gonna happen very quickly in the same pan. And once the oregano is looking wilted, we're gonna be adding the onion. Now it's time to add the moist sort of element, which is gonna be the shallots. Just cook that until the onions are just a slight tender with a golden edge. At this point, like me, the bottom of the pan is getting a little too dark, so like the things that have stuck to the pan are stuck there for too long and they're kind of like gonna turn bitter as they burn. We're gonna release them with a touch of water. Because my onion is not like releasing water quickly enough to do that, I'm gonna help it by adding a touch of water. That's just gonna make sure we're not burning anything, and that we're keeping those golden bits sort of away from getting too dark. After we cook the onion to a point where they're tender and sweet, we're gonna add a cup of tomato puree, and that's also gonna help sort of clean out the bottom of that pan and make sure all those delicious flavors are within the sauce as opposed to just stuck to the pan. The onions are fully cooked now. Time to add a cup of tomato puree. This is not a ton of sauce for like how much pasta we're making pasta for 4 people, but the goal is not for it to be like a super tomato heavy pasta sauce. The sauce is mainly going to be made of that beautiful eggplant. So that's going to cook together, scrape the bottoms. We're going to cook that for about 10 minutes, and that is a perfect time to cook your pasta. Which pasta? Fusilli, rigatoni.
Rigatoni.
Rigatoni? Alright, 1 pound of rigatoni. Make sure your pasta water is seasoned. I'm doing, like always, I'm going to do about a tablespoon per quart of pasta water. We're going to use some of that pasta water later. So that's going in. 10 minutes. Sauce is cooking for 10 minutes. And we should have dinner in about 12 dinner. We should have dinner in about 12 minutes. This here is cooked for about 10 minutes, and I want to show you, look how it's just cleaned all the bottom of that pan, and we've managed to get super dark, concentrated sauce. Very, very good. So to this, we're adding the cooked eggplant. So the eggplant is gonna get almost 80% of the way, 85% of the way incorporated with this beautiful, delightful sauce. Pasta is almost finished cooking. What we're gonna do is take a cup of that pasta water and add this to the sauce. This is gonna loosen up the sauce so that actually the sauce can be like absorbed by the pasta, you know. If you didn't do that, it'd be very hard for this sauce in particular, for how dry it is, to really coat the noodle. And there you have your meal in 20 minutes. Now really, this is when the magic happens. This is when the, this is when the eggplant is really gonna start integrating itself into the sauce, coating the noodles, making this an eggplant sauce.
So if Rachel Ray were making this, what do you think she would do? It would be canned eggplant in a blender with all the ingredients.
Yeah.
And then
she would say, she would leave the alla in there. She would say, rigatoni alla eggplant. Okay, a little tasty taste, but I think we're good here on everything, on all levels. It needs salt, surprisingly. Oh, it's because I forgot to season the tomato. I forgot to season the tomato. Ready to be plated. Should get all the good bits. For this, I don't have ricotta salata, which is traditionally what's used to top this off, it's interesting because ricotta salata is just salted ricotta, so it's like dried out ricotta. And it doesn't add creaminess to this because the eggplant already brings the creaminess to like a high level. So the ricotta salata just add this really savory note. I don't have that, couldn't find it. So the nearest thing you can get is pecorino, which is also just as salted, but still adds a touch of creaminess, which is not very necessary, but that's all I got. It smells like Nona's house. That's it. Easy breezy. Dinner for 4. Vegetarian dinner for 4 with a shit ton of flavors. Because you are taking the time to caramelize the garlic, bloom the chili, fry the oregano, fry the eggplant, add the eggplant as sort of a creamy, savory component to this. It's a quite elaborate and well thought out pasta, I would say myself. I'll have to do the taste test here. Highly, highly savory, but with the tomato, the puree tomato that adds such a nice level of acidity and everything else in there. Highly recommend. Highly, highly recommend. Pasta alla norma. Make it. Goodbye.
Entre tus brazos descanso tu amor, procuro nunca soltarlos.